Say what you will about the superstars of the Hindi cinema. Say what you will about Akshay Kumar, Salman Khan, Ajay Devgan, or even Amir Khan. If there's one star whose every single move is assessed, analyzed, and discussed about to the absolute bone by the general public, it's still very much Shah Rukh Khan. And it seemingly doesn't even matter if today he doesn't enjoy the success of his peers mentioned earlier. The guy is still as relevant in people's minds as before, and the response for his comeback next year has overwhelmingly agreed. Hello guys, welcome to Filmanter, and yes, I'm still not dead. Just trying to navigate life in this post-pandemic era. Also, to be honest, it's hard to get excited about remakes and biopics these days. But as you know, one can wholeheartedly rely on the man himself to rejuvenate inspiration. By now, most of you already know how closely I've kept a track of Khan's career ever since we started this channel. In one of my older videos, we discussed the whole down period that Khan had been going through for quite some time, with most of his recent movies either not impressing the critics, or not recovering the costs, or both. I'm linking that video here as well in case you haven't given it a watch. But as it stands, it looks like the wait is finally over. And over with a bang, might I add. In a short span of just under 3 months, Khan has already announced 3 of his upcoming films, all slated to release in the same year. And we can be all analytical or critical about this decision to release them back to back, but the fan in most of us can't help but get super excited about the prospect of seeing our favorite star on screen multiple times in different roles over the next year. It feels like we deserve it after spending what will be 5 freaking years since his last venture. Now, with that out of the way, and hoping everyone here, myself included, have vented out how excited we are as fans, let's put our critical hats on for a moment. And let's just address the elephant in the room first. 3 films, and that too of this scale, in a single year, just 6 months apart? There has to be something spoken about novelty here. Novelty of seeing our favorite stars only a handful of times. Again, I hate to be that person who compares, but part of the reason why Amir Khan's films generate truckloads of buzz around them has to be the novelty of seeing the star on the big screen after years since his previous one. It's been 4 years since the last Amir Khan release, and yet no one is labeling Lal Singh Chaddha as his comeback. That's because we've been accustomed to this. Oh, by the way, speaking of Lal Singh Chaddha, there's a lot I need to get off my chest about that one. So hold on to that thought for my next video. Anyways, coming back to the point, if you ask me, every minute SRK appearance and his return tour of sorts of his should have been savored for the big screen experience. Take that Pathaan announcement video as an example. That was the first one released out of the lot, and we never actually got to see much of the superstar in it. That was a great decision. It would have been better for the marketing team to stay on this track and really savor each extra glimpse of the actor to build to a nice big crescendo in the theater when everyone is hopefully biting their nails to see the actor in all his glory. Less should have been more in this situation. But of course, that figures to be less and less of a case as we move closer to the next year. With 3 big-ass films all headed by different production houses, it only makes sense that all would be marketed a certain way irrespective of the other. So I'll stop complaining about that and move on to all the individual films themselves, trying to understand what might work and what might be a hard sell. Now first up is Pathaan itself, and there's not much about this film that we haven't covered previously. Check out my YRF Spy Universe video to see what my initial thoughts on this were. Right off the bat, I think Pathaan is the best first film Khan could have asked for among these 3. It's part of an established franchise, so the audience would know exactly what to expect heading into the theaters, unlike a few of Khan's recent films which honestly were a walking contradiction of themselves, confusing the audience on what to expect during their runtime. The movie is being headed by Siddharth Anand, a very credible director if you ask me, who turned his career a full 360 after entering in the action genre, and among all has experience directing big budget superstar films that not only get the vision of the film right, but also rightfully justifies that superstar's involvement. I really enjoyed Tigers in the End War. I think they delivered more than what they promised, so I have little doubt of Pathaan working quite well as well. Plus, this will be the first film in the franchise that actually acknowledges the same universe idea, with Salman Khan and possibly even Hrithik Roshan making their presence felt during its runtime. So Pathaan at least mostly has everything right going for itself. But would it be the biggest Shah Rukh Khan film of the year 2023? For some reason, I'm just too confident it won't. Yes, Pathaan would have a great run at the box office and may even find a way to smash some records here and there. But it's the June release later that year which has the makings of an all-timer. See, pan-India films have been around for a while. It's not a new phenomenon. Heck, even Shah Rukh Khan starred in one opposite Kamal Haasan. That was Hey Ram over 2 decades ago. But it was the Telugu-originated Bahubali in 2015 that really brought pan-Indian projects back to the forefront thanks to its stupendous response nationwide and beyond. Ever since then, we've had several pan-Indian films originated in multiple languages. We've had pan-India films from the Telugu industry, Tamil industry, and even Kannada industry. But the Hindi film industry itself has for some reason taken its time to jump on the bandwagon. As far as I know, Brahmastra later this year would be the first real pan-Indian film originated in Bollywood ever since Bahubali released. And if the Ranbir Kapoor starrer succeeds in tapping into that southern market as expected, it's pretty much a guarantee at that point that Jawan next year will open to perhaps the biggest Shah Rukh Khan numbers ever. In fact, even if Brahmastra falls short of those spectacular expectations, Jawan still has a decent enough chance to become the highest grossing film of Shah Rukh's career solely based on what director Atli Kumar is going for with this one. Similar to other super successful pan-Indian films like KGF, RRR and Bahubali before it, Jawan would be scaled on a gigantic testosterone-thumping magnitude that will be hard to ignore for a theatrical viewing. With actors and technicians from different domestic film industries coming together for this one, Jawan is perhaps that one universal movie that SRK has been vying for all this time. Which finally brings us to Dunki, a film helmed by none other than Rajkumar Hirani, perhaps the most successful filmmaker working in the Hindi film industry today because the guy has somehow found a formula that brings his work critical and public appreciation as well as the box office numbers his contemporaries could only dream about. But with all that said, and you might call me crazy for this one, but Dunki among these three is probably the movie I'm most concerned about. For some reason, I just think only a handful of filmmakers today can really do justice to the brand SRK. And Shah Rukh's track record has been pretty unsteady when working with otherwise quite reliable filmmakers in the past who weren't able to balance their vision against Khan's larger-than-life presence in their films. Be it Anand L. Rai with Zero, Rahul Dholakia with Raees, or even Imtiaz Ali with Jab Harry Met Sejal, they all crumbled when it mattered the most. Is Raju Hirani in the same boat? Well, yes and no. Yes, he's a reliable filmmaker who has never worked with Khan before, so that's the concern. And no, because he has already worked with superstars near Khan's caliber and broken box office records before while staying true to his original vision. Plus, it was nice seeing the duo address this concern in their short announcement teaser they shot, where they literally said that the brand SRK will not take precedence over the director's creativity in the film. How these three films are received by the general public remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, Khan is not leaving any stones unturned in his comeback to the big screen, and we as fans can only wish him best in the much-awaited return.
Ready.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. I'd love to hear what your thoughts about these three films are in the comment section down below. Which one are you looking most forward to? Please leave a big thumbs up on this video before leaving and subscribe to Filmanter if you haven't already. With that out of the way, have a safe week ahead. My name is Amir and I will see you soon.